2 Kings chapter 24. In the days Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, came up, and Jehoiakim became his servant for 3 years. He turned and rebelled against him. And Yahuwah sent against him raiding bands of Kastites, and raiding bands of Aram, and raiding bands of Moab, and raiding bands of the children of Ammon. And he sent them against Judah to destroy it, according to the word of Yahuwah which he had spoken by his servants, the Nebaim, the prophets. Only at the command of Yahuwah this came upon Judah, to remove from his presence because of the sins of Manasseh, according to all that he did, and also because of the innocent blood that he shed. He filled Jerusalem with innocent blood, which Yah would not forgive. And the rest of the acts of Jehoiakim and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of sovereigns of Judah? So Jehoiakim slept with his fathers, and Jehoiakim his son, Jehoiakim his son, reigned in his place. And the sovereign of Mitzrayim, or Egypt, did not come out of his land again, for the sovereign of Babel had taken all that belonged to the sovereign of Mitzrayim, Egypt, from the Wadi of Egypt to the river Parah. Jehoiakim was 18 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months. His mother's name was Nehushta, the daughter of Elnathan of Jerusalem. He did evil in the eyes of Yahuwah, according to all that his father did. At that time the servants of Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, came up against Jerusalem, and the city was besieged. And Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, came against the city as his servants were besieging it. And Jehoiakim, sovereign of Judah, and his mother, and servants, and his heads, and his eunuchs, went out to the sovereigns of Babel. And the sovereign of Babel, in the 8th year of his reign, took him prisoner. He took from there all the treasures of the house of Yahuwah, and the treasures of the sovereign's house. He cut in pieces all the objects of gold which Solomon, king of Israel, had made in the temple of Yahuwah, the Heikel of Yahuwah, as Yahuwah said. He exiled all of Jerusalem, and all of the officers, and all of the mighty brave men, 10,000 exiles, and all the craftsmen and smiths. None remained except the poorest people of the land. And he exiled Jehoiakim to Babel, and the sovereign's mother, and the sovereign's wives, and his eunuchs, and the leading men of the land, and exiled from Jerusalem to Babel. And all of the mighty brave men, 7,000, and craftsmen smiths were 1,000, and all who were strong and fit for battle. These the sovereign of Babel brought to Babel into exile. And the sovereign of Babel appointed Mattaniah, Jehoiakim's uncle, to reign in his place, and changed his name to Sidkiyahu. Sidkiyahu was 21 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned for 11 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Hamudal, the daughter of Yirmiyahu of Libnah. And he did evil in the eyes of Yahuwah, according to all that Jehoiakim did. For this took place in Jerusalem and Judah because of the displeasure of Yahuwah, until he cast them out of his presence. And Sidkiyahu rebelled against the sovereign of Babel. Chapter 25. And it came to be in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, on the 10th of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, and all his army came against Jerusalem, and camped against it, and they built a siege wall against it all around. The city was besieged until the 11th year of sovereign Sidkiyahu. By the 9th of the month, the scarcity of food became so severe in the city that there were no food for the people of the land. The city wall was breached, and all the men of battle fled at night by the way of the gate between 2 walls, which was by the sovereign's garden. Even though the Kastites were still encamped all around against the city, and the sovereign went by way of the desert plain, the army of the Kastites pursued the sovereign and overtook him in the desert plains of Jericho, and all of his army was scattered from him. They seized the sovereign, brought him up to the sovereign of Babel at Riblah, and they pronounced sentence to him. And they slaughtered the sons of Sidkiyahu before his eyes. He put out of the eyes of Sidkiyahu, and bound him with bronze shackles, and took him to Babel. And in the 5th month, on the 7th of the month, which was the 19th year of Nebuchadnezzar's reign, sovereign of Babel, Nebuchadnezzar, the chief of the guard, Nebuzaradan, the chief of the guard, a servant of the sovereign of Babel, came to Jerusalem. He burned the house of Yahuwah and the house of the sovereign and all the houses of Jerusalem. Even every great house he burned with fire. All the army of the Castlites who were with the chief of the guard broke down the walls of Jerusalem all around. And Nebuzaradan, the chief of the guard, took into exile the rest of the people who were left in the city and the deserters who deserted to the sovereign of Babel with the rest of the multitude. But the chief of the guard left some of the poor of the land as vine dressers and farmers. And the bronze columns that were in the house of Yahuwah and the stands in bronze sea that were in the house, the Castlites broke in pieces and took their bronze away to Babel. They took the pots, shovels, snuffers, ladles, and bronze utensils the priest used in service. And the chief of the guard took the fire holders and the basins, which were of solid gold and solid silver. The bronze of all of these utensils was beyond measure. The two columns, the one sea and the stands which Solomon had made for the house of Yahuwah. The height of one column was 18 amma, and the capital on it was of bronze. And the height of the capital was 3 amma, and the network and pomegranates all around the capital were all of bronze, and the second column was the same, with a network. The chief of the guard took Sariah, the chief Cohen, chief priest, and Zephaniah, the second Cohen, and the 3 doorkeepers. And out of the city he took a certain eunuch who was appointed over the men of battle, and 5 men of those who saw the sovereign's face, who were found in the city, and the chief scribe of the army, who mustered the people of the land, and 60 men of the people of the land who were found in the city. And Nebuzaradan, chief of the guard, took them and made them go to the sovereign of Babel of Riblah. And to the sovereign of Babel he smote them and put them to death at Riblah in the land of Hamath. So he exiled Judah from its own land. And he appointed Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, son of Shaphan, over the people who were left in the land of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, sovereign of Babel, left. And all of the commanders of the armies, they and their men, heard that the sovereign of Babel had appointed Gedaliah, and they came to Gedaliah at Mizpah, even Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, and Yochanan, son of Kiriah, and Sariah, son of Tehumath, and Netophathite, and Yaazaniah, the son of Maakathite, they and their men. And Gedaliah swore to them and their men, and said to them, Do not be afraid of the servants of the Castlites. Dwell in the land. Serve the sovereign of Babel. Let it be well with you. And in the 7th month it came to be that Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, son of Elishama, of the seed of the rain, came with 10 men and smote Gedaliah that he died, and the Yahudim, the Jews, and the Castlites, who were with him at Mizpah. All the people rose up, small and great, and the commanders of the armies, and went to Mitzrayim or Egypt, for they were afraid of the Castlites. And it came to be in the 37th year of the exile of Jehoiakim, sovereign of Judah, in the 12th month, on the 27th of the month, that Ewil Merodach, sovereign of Babel, in the year that he began to reign, released Jehoiakim, sovereign of Judah, from prison. He spoke kindly to him, appointed his throne above the throne of the sovereigns who were with him in Babel, and changed his prison garments. He ate bread continually before the sovereign all the days of his life. And as his allowance, a continual allowance was given to him from the sovereign, a quota for each day, all the days of his life. Wow. Hallelujah.